Many people blame the troubles of the world on the news media. Many say that journalists have become out-of-touch elites, so committed to the destructive lies of leftism that their minds have become gnarled and pocked with hatred of those everyday Americans whose better values threaten to expose journalists to themselves as Gollum-like creatures eaten away by their own corruption until they look into the mirrors of their imaginations and see horrific images of their bodies riddled with leprous decay as a physical representation of the spiritual degeneracy that clearly foreshadows an eternity of desolation in bleak and endless severance from the God who created them and who now, even in his omniscience, himself turns to alternative forms of media in the hopes of getting some honest news once in a while. Of course, many people still trust the news media and softly murmur to themselves that Walter Cronkite seems awfully nice before they retreat into a corner of the assisted care facility and stare at the blank wall with rheumy eyes, fondly watching a parade of misty memories from a distant past that now seems much better than it actually was. Recently, unseemly revelations have detracted even more from the news media's reputation, so that trust in the honesty of journalists has now fallen to just 28% of journalists. And they're journalists, so they're obviously lying and don't trust journalists any more than the rest of us do. In formerly Great Britain, for instance, the British Broadcasting Corporation has recently become mired in scandal. The once respected news organization, often affectionately referred to as Auntie because it reminds viewers of the sort of gray-haired old lady whose silhouette can sometimes be seen at the second-story window of a Gothic mansion while her delusional, hectoring, high-pitched rants drift down to the desolate motel below until, in the last reel, we find out the silhouette is really Norman Bates in a dress and a wig, and the real Auntie is the rotten corpse of a once respected news organization. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Recently, the BBC was exposed deceptively editing a speech by Donald Trump for a 2024 report that was clearly meant to influence American voters against Trump's reelection. In Trump's original speech, delivered to a group of protesters on January 6th after Trump's 2021 election loss, Trump said, quote, "God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above," unquote. In the BBC edited version, Trump said, quote, "Kill them all, storm the Capitol and kill them all, kill, 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 insurrection now, destroy democracy and kill them all," unquote. BBC President Cor Blimey issued a statement saying that the minor discrepancy was the result of an innocent mistake in which producers confused the Trump speech with the film Starship Troopers because they think of Americans as just so many gigantic alien bugs. To be fair, not all news organizations have sunk out of sight into the BBC's tar pit of disgrace, shame, corruption, decadence, degradation, and vice. With some outlets, you can still see the tops of their heads for a few final moments before the tar closes over them. For example, the New York Times, a former newspaper, was recently awarded the Pulitzer Prize for linking Donald Trump's name to Jeffrey Epstein's name a record number of times without once explaining that no one has ever plausibly accused Trump of doing anything wrong with Epstein. The Pulitzer Committee says it hopes the Times Prize for irrelevantly linking Trump and Epstein will encourage other former news outlets to distract people from the fact that Trump has closed the border, brought peace to the Middle East, drawn in trillions of dollars in new investments to the U.S., lowered inflation, and bettered our trading deals in ways that promise to cut the deficit. Not to mention the fact that he barred Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for being a creep, while sleazy journalists like George Stephanopoulos and Katie Couric were still attending dinners in Epstein's honor. In a statement carved into the clay of a goat-headed idol, the Pulitzer Committee said it would continue to give news outlets like the Times awards for what they do best, namely lie. For more Klavan-y magnificence, like and subscribe, and for even more, subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.